I would like to start my speech by rebutting the deal. Firstly, I would like to say that they have not clarified what they were trying to fund in the first place. And even when we asked for a point of clarification, they still have failed and have not proven to us about how their model is even related to what we did in the first place. So since from the start of the debate, we already see that they have failed to engage. So throughout the debate, so they have not been engaging in us at all. So today I have come up with 3 crash points. Who is actually helping the local people? Secondly, who is actually solving the problem at the end of the day? And thirdly, which side is going to further increase which side is going to take the environmental negotiations to the next level? Firstly, on my first sub point, we're going to the local people right now. They are cutting. They don't know what they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what are going to be the results in the future. So that's why we're saying that they need education, and that they're only going to be the most capable actors in doing this because firstly these people, they have been living in that area for a long time, so they depend on the land. So we say that they already have an obligation to protect the land. That's why we have chosen to help the people and change their incentive to be able to live in harmony with the forest and also teach them that there's going to be more benefits. And secondly, they came up with a point about the McDonald's. Firstly, I want to say that they have assumed that McDonald's have their own farms and that in some McDonald's branches they actually import the meat from these farmers. So we're saying that in this debate we have already tackled we have already solved this problem also, and also McDonald's is not, and also we're saying that these corporations are not going to be very effective in making them the actors in this debate because firstly they don't have the same obligation like the local people does because these local people have been doing for a long time. They depend on the forest since they were born, and also it's going to be more sustainable because since they've been here for a long time, since I've been here for a long time, they're going to keep on living here, and which in the end is going to be more conservative and more preserving the forest. So now moving on to my second clash, who is actually solving the problem at the end of the day? On my first sub point, firstly, the OWL has failed to engage us on the problem, and they have not even denied our problem. So we're saying that they already agreed to debate on our case, but in the model, they have not even proved to us about how is it going to solve our problem in the first place, and they have failed to engage us. So we're saying that throughout the debate they have failed. And also moving on to my second sub point, we're saying that we're going to solve the problem at the end of the day because we're going to at first use the money as an incentive to not to cut trees, and also to be able to move from agricultural products to be able to live in harmony with the forest. And we're also going to provide them education, which in the long term effect, they're going to be, which in the long term effect, it is going to affect the environment because since with their general knowledge already about the area combined with the education already there, then it's going to be sustainable and preserve the forest. Yes.
What is you're saying is a long-term stance, right? But what if the money from the fund dries out and all the money is gone?
Now that's going to let me move to my third clash point about which side is going to further increase the help, which side is going to take the environmental negotiations to the next level. Firstly, I would like to point out that the opposition side, they have only, firstly we're saying that the EU is already capable of this since they have the responsibility to do this, to be able to help in this, since they are one of the biggest carbon emitters, since their entire economy is based on industrialization. So we're saying that they're capable of this and they have the responsibility to do this. And even if they only tackled on the practical level, and they're not implemented on a principle level. So what they're saying is that they're just agreeing with our principle but not agreeing with practical level. So we're saying that we can do this. And also, now moving on to my clash. they are taking the responsibility. As I said before, they are the ones who are providing money. So at the end of the day, it is going to fulfill their responsibility. Now, and I'm moving on to my clash. By the EU doing this, because right now, as we've seen from the latest Copenhagen Environmental Council, these developing nations, they have not been able to trust these developed nations because they felt that they're going to cheat. But we're saying that by doing this is also going to solve that problem and also going to be more beneficial to us because firstly the EU, since they're already fulfilling their if they're doing this, then they're going to fulfill their responsibility and also fulfill the role to protect the environment. So we're saying after the developed nations are going to gain more trust, and we're saying that there's we've already shown you that the dire need for this since the Kyoto protocol is going to expire in 2012, and we're saying that if we don't do this, then after that, not many developing countries are not going to be able to negotiate with each other, since there's also a feeling of untrustness in the negotiations. So we're saying that by doing this, it's also going to solve the problem in the long term, since it's going to promote more negotiation, which is going to help the world solve the problem more. And also by promoting trust within these countries, it is going to let these developing nations participate more, which we're saying is going to solve the global problem as a whole. And now, since they have failed to engage in our problem we have accepted, we're saying that PS2 has won this debate and therefore I'm proud to
The speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 12 seconds. I would like to invite the opposition whip to speak.
First, I would like to repeat my stance. We believe that reduction of deforestation from supply side is impossible. Therefore, tackling from the demand side is the way to go. And I will tell it to you in simple languages so everybody can understand. First of all, what is the general position in this debate so far? We're talking about the cost. We're talking about the harms of the model, and we're going to talk about the benefits, and then I will summarize later on. First, I would like to make a rebuttal. The first speaker came up and said that the farmers are being forced by these industrialized nations to cut down their own trees. So we are saying that shouldn't we let these companies be the ones to take responsibility in planting these trees back for these people? Also, the second speaker also came up to say that the local people are cutting down their own trees. So that's why we are saying we need to fix the root problem in these developed countries that give the money to these people. We want these developed countries to take responsibility instead. So moving on to my first clash analysis, which is the cost. Assuming that the most obvious indicator right now is the cost, we're first going to focus on the cost. No doubt, everyone in this room wants to save the forest. But just what exactly is it going to cost, and who is going to pay for this? So,
Point.
yes.
So ma'am, so now you think that when these developed nations cannot do this, we say the developing nations, these local peoples are the ones who are incentivized the most. So we see that they are the ones who should do it.
Okay, I will further on rebut on your POI. First of all, I'm going to look at this at two levels. First, the cost and the responsibility to pay. The government team has stated that they want the EU fund to pay. Even though right now the EU is busy on tackling their own problems right now, and for our team, we said that we want these multi-billion-dollar corporations that cause these problems in carbon dioxide emission to take responsibility by the market products, which my first speaker said. They will get the money from the market of products that came from after the deforestation. And moving on to the responsibility to pay. These multi-billion-dollar corporations that has deforested Brazil, they have created a place where they could produce their own products. Like they use the products like trees and crops to make their food. And then what we're saying is our model, which seems to be more efficient because we're letting these multi-billion-dollar companies take responsibility, and who appears to be more eligible to pay for this global economic crisis. And our model is able to carry out in the future. I will tell you why. Because these companies, they're gaining millions of dollars every day, and they're destroying plants every day. So they should use this money to help bring back nature to Brazil. Also, the problem with the UE fund, where you said the money is going to come from, is that these funds will eventually dry out because they won't, like my first speaker said, how she evaluated on every time forest is deforested, and then when the money goes back in, there's not enough money to bring back what's actually being destroyed. Also, to my second clash is the harms of the models. The harm of their model is, first of all, they're harming the farmers. Second, they're harming the rainforest, and third, they're harming the planet. Okay, and I will evaluate on all of them. First of all, they're harming the farmers because the farmers are carrying a heavy burden which isn't even caused by them. The rainforest is overtaken by this organization, and what they're saying is they will let the EU help fund them, but instead, sooner or later, the fund will dry out. So by giving the responsibility to these multi-dollar organizations, we are taking the problem and we are fixing the problem at the root.
Before we move on, since we already stated the problem is about the environment problem, and suddenly you talked about how you're going to solve the global economic crisis. How is that even solving the problem at the root?
Let me rephrase that to you. We are fixing a global economic crisis that is happening between this corporation and what they're doing to Brazil and what they are doing to nature.
On that point.
Also, I would like to tell you the benefits of our mechanism. First of all, it benefits the individual because these people, the individuals in Europe won't, not only in Europe but the whole world, won't have to be exposed to this carbon emission because these corporations are taking responsibility. The farmers also won't have to take responsibilities for these corporations that invade their land. And finally, we are helping the planet because we assure the planet a better future and a long-term benefit. This long-term benefit will be supplied by these multi-billion dollar organizations, which my first speaker has said McDonald's will take responsibility in the problem that they have caused. So moving on to my summary. The cost of what we're doing right now is, as I said, the cost will eventually dry out. So we need the companies that gain the money every day from taking these resources to be the ones responsible. And we see no benefit whatsoever to what the government is saying because, like corruption, you're making the corruption people happy. Like they're thinking right now, oh, I don't have to fix the problem. I'll just have to pay the farmers and they'll fix the problem for me. And you just let them get away with it. So, we prioritize the clear benefit to the society because we are saying that if these people are having their resources taken away from them, we should give it back. And the organizations should take responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, with the greatest respect to the honorable government team, whose intentions are no doubt honorable, we see a clear harm caused by their position, such as they will let the farmers take responsibility, which isn't even their responsibility because they're not the ones who caused it. And we see a clear harm caused by their, and we see a clear benefit because we are solving the problem at the root. So the debate today is about saving the planet. It is about the principle of compensation, and it is a decision, honorable adjudicators, which lies in your hands. Thank you.
The speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 48 seconds. I would like to invite the opposition reply to speak.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here again. We are here to sum up our arguments as well as the whole debate. Now, on the opposition side, we have two main points. We have the points of we have the two main points of that we have the two main points of that. The demand side solution is a lot greater than the supply solution, and that the whole point of this the compensation is the organization's fault, not the developing countries or the farmers' fault. Firstly, I'd like to make some things clear first. The government have stated that they've assumed that we have no mechanism, but we clearly said in my first speech that we are going to base this model on the Regulate McDonald model, which is actually currently happening. In this model, we give full responsibility to McDonald's or bigger corporations like McDonald's to actually compensate the farmers themselves, not the developing countries, because we see that these big organizations are the one to blame for these deforestation, because the bigger their organization gets, think about it, the bigger it gets, the bigger they have to expand their crops to get in these needs that they require for these their budgeting and their organization. For example, McDonald's, each time they increase, they would have to increase the land of crops that they have for cattle. The cattle's bring in the beef for the burgers and so on. The second thing I would like to state is that the government has also stated that the local people will have the incentive, but like I said before, they won't be, because the organization, the bigger organization, have the bigger incentive, because they would realize that if by compensating these farmers farming for them, they would then expand their market worldwide. They would be introducing the rainforest-friendly market, which would then bring in more consumers. For example, the Body Shop. The Body Shop is a cosmetics shop, and they are friendly, environmental friendly, and animal friendly. This has blown up their market. It's gone global. It's gone massive. The government also they also said that their model would be for long-term benefits. We're not saying that. We are saying that theirs won't be long-term benefit, because, like we said before, the EU would
eventually run out of money because they would have to keep on bailing these people out. They still are in massive debt with other people too. And this would be, our model would be a long-term benefit for our organisations because it would, like I said before, it would increase their markets, increasing their revenues for these for the income. So let's face it, people. Organisations, big organisations, should pay for the compensation of farmers instead of the developed countries, because they are to blame, not the developed countries themselves.